Hey everybody, what's up? Chad Wesley Smith here for Juggernaut Training Systems and Juggernaut AI, joined by Marisa Inda. And today we're going to be continuing our How, Why, When series, where we explain to you how to use different exercise variations, how to do them, why to do them, and when you would want to include them in your training. Today we're going to be talking about the dead bench slash pin press, which would be a great exercise variation to build starting strength in the bench press. Can work around injuries, all kind of great stuff with it. But before we get into that, as always, our videos here on the channel are brought to you by the Juggernaut AI app. So if you want totally customized training that looks at your gender, age, height, weight, strength, experience, weak points in the lifts, trying to gain weight, lose weight, what's your stress like, what's your sleep like, all that good stuff, creates a custom program based on all that information for you that grows and adapts with your feedback. You get a 2-week free trial of the Juggernaut AI app at the link down in our description or by visiting juggernautai.app. All right, let's get into it. The dead bench. How do we do it? All right, so 2 exercises kind of that we're talking about here. Dead bench, we're going to say that the bar starts on the pins and you press up from that dead stop position. And then a pin press is when you're lowering the bar, touching the pins, stopping on the pins, and pressing up from there. But very, very similar exercises. Depending on how you do it, you know, the height of the rack, and you can do this in a power rack, we're doing it here in the combo rack. Wherever you're struggling in the lift, you want to set the pins about a ½ an inch below that. So as Marissa sets up here, first you're going to do a pin press, and a pin press is kind of going to be like a box squat for your arms. It's going to break the stretch shortening cycle when the bar hits the pins, and you're going to press up from there. So you got to make sure to really lower the bar under control so it doesn't bang on one side, then the other side, and kind of throw you off balance. But we're bringing the bar down. We're letting the weight of the bar rest on the pins for a second and pressing up from there. Now the dead bench is a little bit trickier than that. The bar is going to start on the pins. And this is always the tough part about dead bench when I was doing this a lot. Josh Bryant introduced me to this exercise and kind of popularized it. With the bar sitting down on the pins, is you lay on the bench, you gotta sneak underneath the bar there and then roll it out into position. And now we're gonna bench up from this dead stop position. And this most often we are gonna use right at the chest, like so the bar is maybe a ½ inch off the chest or just kind of barely touching the chest, and you're having to overcome this dead stop position. So kind of turn on as many muscle fibers as you can at once. That's going to be the dead bench. Dead bench, we'll get into a bit more about how to use that or how to implement it into your training. All right, so that's how you do it. It's pretty much just like a regular bench press, just affecting, are we stopping the bar on the pins or what is our starting position? So pin press, again, we're bringing the bar down, stopping, short pause on the pins, press up from there. Dead bench, bar starts on the pins, we wiggle our way underneath the bar and we're pressing up from that dead position. Now, why would you do this in your training? Well, the dead bench is great if you're struggling with strength off the chest, similar to the way like a pause squat would be, using more like a box squat for sumo deadlifters. Some people will do it like this, and you're going from 0 and exploding up. Pin press, it could be trying to address a specific weak point. If you're getting into high pin presses, you could be really trying to overload and get yourself used to heavy weights. You could be working around an injury. If, when you get to here, your shoulder is really starting to bug, but you set the pin, a ½ or a ¼ inch higher than that, so you can still get good overload through that range of motion. A lot of benefits to the exercise, to those exercises. So again, you're addressing a specific weak point, you're working around injuries, you're just giving yourself a novel stimulus. The dead bench, you're giving your shoulders and elbows a little bit of a break if they start to hurt in the eccentric phase of the exercises. Now, when would you include these? The dead bench is going to be more of a strength and peaking exercise because it is best used in sets of 1. So whether that's going to be a kind of a cluster set of multiple singles into like a mini set, and then you're going to do multiple rounds of that mini set. So you could do like 5 rounds of 3 dead benches. So you're going to do 1, rest 10 seconds, 1, rest 10 seconds, 1, and that's 1 set. So you're doing 15 total reps in those 5 mini sets of 3. But the bar needs to stop dead every time. like you want to almost reset every time, take enough time in between. So I'd say a minimum of 6 seconds to, you know, fully relax the stretch shortening cycle. So you're having to go from 0 to everything you got. And that's just not an exercise that lends itself very much to hypertrophy. Now the pin press, that could be used in hypertrophy, strength, or peaking phases. Hypertrophy phases, if you're really trying to overload the triceps with higher pin presses and higher reps. If you're trying to address specific weak points in a strength or peaking phase, that'll work too. And then you'd be in more like strength and peaking type of rep ranges, so probably 4 to 6 reps in a strength phase, and then in a peaking phase, you know, I wouldn't use the pin press as their primary exercise. You're gonna reserve that mostly for the competition bench press, but you could do singles in the pin press if you're trying to use it for mechanical overload, but I'd probably use it for more sets of like 2 to 3, maybe even up to 5 reps still in peaking to complement your competitive bench press training. So that's the pin press and the dead bench. That's how we do them, why we do them, and when we would do them. If you learned something from this video, please like the video, subscribe to the channel, and don't forget to check out that 2-week free trial of the Juggernaut AI app down at the link in our description or by visiting juggernautai.app. Thanks for watching.